Some wounds can't be healed, but sometimes a dangerous journey is the only path to peace. Mike McCann, a former legendary ice road trucker, now lives alone and burdened with guilt. His brother, Gertie, is gone, killed in a dangerous mission rescuing trapped miners in Canada. Since then, Mike has become isolated, wandering without purpose. But one day, he receives a small package, a plastic jar containing Gertie's ashes. Inside is a final letter: "Scatter my ashes at the foot of Mount Everest." Mike knows this isn't a sightseeing trip. This is a journey of redemption. Mike arrives in Kathmandu, Nepal, a dusty city filled with honking horns and narrow alleys. He doesn't complain. Carrying just one bag, one will, and one jar of ashes, he meets Dani Yangchen, a local guide he had booked beforehand. At the terminal, Mike registers as a passenger on the Kiwi Express, a small tourist bus heading toward the Himalayan mountain range. The driver, Spike, welcomes them. Soon after, Evan and his daughter Star board the bus. Star, visibly upset with her father, deliberately drops her back. Dani scolds her, but Star responds with indifference, annoying Dani further. Evan quietly picks up her bag. Their destination, the base of Everest, 12,000 feet above sea level. Shortly after the bus departs, a young man named Vijay Rai seems to be followed. A mysterious woman offers him a cigarette, and then suddenly strikes him in the face with a pistol, knocking him out. They are mercenaries, hired to capture Vijay alive. Vijay is an activist who exposed an illegal dam project by a giant mining corporation. The company bribed local officials and hired mercenaries to silence any opposition. The bus is hijacked, and all phones are confiscated and thrown away. Mike acts quickly. He sabotages one of the tires using a metal rod to blow it out, and tells Dani to target the armed woman. The tire explodes, and the bus swerves. Mike disarms one of the attackers, and a brutal fight ensues. Dani, using her wit, fights off a mercenary. Mike throws one attacker out the window and rushes to help Dani, who is cornered by the woman. Mike nearly loses, but Star throws a weapon toward Dani, who knocks the attacker out. The bus nearly plunges off a cliff, but miraculously, they all survive. Mike secures the ashes of his brother, and together with Dani, ensures the mercenaries are arrested. Soon, police sirens wail. Captain Shankar, a provincial officer, arrives and asks what happened. Mike explains that Vijay was the target of a kidnapping attempt. The criminals are handed over to the authorities. Later, at a rest stop, Evan begins to notice something strange. Everyone around them seems unwilling to engage or help. Spike inspects the bus frame and notices a slight fracture. Mike offers to fix it if they have welding equipment. Spike praises Mike for being a capable man. Evan, concerned, asks a police officer about the young man who was attacked. Dani translates and is told that Vijay has regained consciousness and there's nothing to worry about. After the incident, Evan introduces his daughter to Dani. Though they clashed earlier, they now reconcile after having fought side by side. A convoy of vehicles soon arrives, including a replacement bus to continue the journey. Evan again inquires about Vijay, but is ignored by Captain Shankar. Captain Shankar apologizes on behalf of his country for the earlier incident. Evan, still skeptical, presses further. The captain now claims Vijay is still unconscious, contradicting the officer who said otherwise. This inconsistency fuels Evan's suspicions, especially since Shankar arrived too quickly at the crime scene. Evan lets it go, for now, but distrust lingers. He formally introduces himself to Mike as a human rights representative. He explains that a man named Ruda Yash wants to dam a river near Everest, but the Rai family refuses to sell their land. An elder named Raj Rai reportedly fell to his death on the Eastern Trail, which shocks Spike. As a daily bus driver on that trail, he insists that's impossible. No bus has ever slid off during the dry season. This revelation deepens Evan's suspicions. With Ganesh missing and Vijay almost abducted, he's convinced the police are involved. While negotiating with a guard, they hear screams from inside. Mike punches the guard and seizes his weapon. They find Vijay being tortured with heated metal rods. Mike and Dani sneak in, grab a rifle, and aim it at the captors. Captain Shankar warns Mike that he doesn't know who he's dealing with. Mike replies that police should serve justice, not the opposite. Suddenly, the mafia boss Rudha Yash arrives. Evan reveals himself as a US Department representative and claims a Black Hawk helicopter is on its way. He knows their phones were all thrown away. Evan is executed. A gunfight erupts. Vijay and Donnie rush to alert Spike to start the bus. Star asks where her father is. He's dead. Their escape route is blocked. Spike reverses, but they're trapped on both ends. He is shot. Donnie retaliates with an AK-47. Mike takes the wheel, dodges attackers, and cuts a critical support cable. Admittedly, this scene strains believability. The cable supporting concrete is cut too easily. In reality, such cables are reinforced and not easily severed with a knife. Still, they manage to escape by blocking the road with a chunk of concrete. Now the problem is, where do they go? Vijay suggests heading to the Chinese border, where the ancient Silk Road passes through. It's dangerous and icy, but relatively unguarded. Spike, dying, asks to be let off. Mike props him up between some rocks, armed with an AK-47 with limited bullets. The group reaches a steep, snowy trail with a 40-degree incline. They find a tension cable for descent and attach it to the bus. But the system jams before they're halfway down. Certain death. Donnie, despite the risk, agrees. The bus skids downhill wildly, but Mike miraculously controls it around each bend until it flips near the bottom. Everyone survives, but the bus is totaled. Mike sees a vehicle down the ravine. He has a plan. Meanwhile, Spike is discovered by police. With his last bullets, he kills one officer before running out. A tragic end. Mike and Star descend to retrieve the vehicle, while Rudha Yash and his men also prepare to descend the slick slope. They take 2 hours to fix their descent rig. Mike and team repair their bus, ready to move again. Next stop, a cabin where Vijay's father is hiding. But plot twist, Rudha Yash is actually his son, making Vijay his half-brother. The old man sends a decoy message. Rudha sends a hitman on a motorcycle, but it's a trap. The old man outsmarts him. As the group arrives, Mike collapses from exhaustion. That night, the mafia boss orders his men not to rest until they find Vijay and Mike. By morning, the team prepares to cross a deep valley using a machine built by Vijay's father. Gunfire breaks out. Corrupt police shoot Donnie and Vijay's father. A heartbreaking reunion. Then Rudha, the ungrateful son, kills his own father in front of Vijay. Another gunfight. Mike battles the female mercenary, trying to sabotage their crossing machine. He's nearly subdued, but uses quick thinking, throws his weapon, and jumps into the operator's chair. Rudha charges, but Donnie shoots a fuel line, causing a massive explosion. They make it across. But Rudha isn't done. Gunfire erupts. The mercenaries now wield RPGs. The blast triggers a landslide that blocks the road, but one enemy still manages to follow. Mike crashes into the pursuing motorbike. Another explosion. A female mercenary climbs aboard. Donnie awakens. A final showdown. She's stabbed but fights back. Mike joins in. Star strikes the attacker. Donnie finishes her. Mike, finally using his brother's ashes, smashes the corrupt cop's face with the jar, throwing the last enemies off the cliff. They are finally safe. The mafia boss, now alone, is left behind. Mike drives the bus to the cliff edge, preparing to end it all. Now it's over. Vijay becomes the leader of his village. Mike fulfills his brother's final wish, scattering his ashes at the foot of Mount Everest. A happy ending, with Mike possibly finding a spark with Danny, the guide he once only hired.